The next pathway that we report on is on the semantics, ontology, and standardization pathway. So for this, we had 10 sessions, 3 bots, 4 interest groups, 2 working groups, and 1 joint session. And we've had 7 sessions with summaries and takeaways. And from them, we selected 4 to be reported on other pathways. And we had 3 without any pathways. Oh, sorry, without any takeaways. Next slide, please. So the pathways was actually more about standardization of metadata profiles, semantics, and ontologies for maximizing interoperability. And the first presentation, the first group during the presentation was the metadata interest group, and the presentation was on the idea of exploring the motivation for structuring metadata using, of course, a standardized and formal syntax and semantics. So the point is that using formal syntax and semantics, it's much better than having like unstandard metadata for that. So using formal vocabulary terms is something very important to improve the reasoning that you can do within metadata. The group needs to help finalizing the metadata element set, and that's what they have been working on. So defining these formal terms and grouping them into the metadata element set. Next working group was the data repository attributes, and they have been working on descriptive attributes for data repository. So they plan on using the week to share examples that can be updated instead of submitting examples as a supporting output for publications. So again, gathering examples is something very, very important. They have been working on the final draft of the common descriptive attributes for research data repository that will be submitted in the next weeks. So working on that recommendation is something very important, and it's important noting that. Could you go to the next slide, please? So the last group on this pathway was the vocabulary services interest group, and they have been working on during the session they gave several presentations from other interest groups that could potentially work together with the vocabulary services interest group. The main takeaway that they outlined was that multilingual semantic effort is very important. And of course, that interoperability is the biggest problem facing semantics artifacts. So having multilingual objects, semantic objects, would help with the interoperability, especially if we are dealing with artifacts that come from communities built around a different language than probably English. Okay, so next one is the common themes that we outlined from these pathways is that, of course, that metadata semantics and vocabularies are mainly used for increasing interoperability, interpretability, and for that, having multilingual support is something very important. So most of the groups are working with solutions to deal with these issues of semantics interoperability, especially when it comes to dynamic and expandable content. Also an important discussion was done around how formal syntax and semantics could help with this interoperability issues.